Hello and welcome back to the Tom Sawyer Show. I'm Grant Wall, joined by Winona State head football coach Tom Sawyer. And Coach, it was, if nothing else, it was one of the most entertaining games of the season last week in Mary. You score with under a minute left to get a 46-43 back and forth, a very entertaining win. I'm sure it took a couple years off of your life, stress-wise, watching it from the sidelines. But for everybody watching at home, it was a fantastic, classic football game.
Yeah, there was never a doubt. We weren't really worried about it a whole lot. Okay, yeah, it was pretty exciting. It was pretty fun. Those kind of games are exciting to watch. Mm-hmm. The people that watched it, on the internet or whatever, a lot of people called and said that was an awesome game, and yeah, it was pretty stressful at times. But we got down to the 2-minute drill there at the end. We do it all the time, and actually Alex Nelson is the best one we have, including Teaglin, including Brian Bradshaw. He's the best at our 2-minute. He's just calm, cool, collected, and he had some kids make some big plays during during that drive, and we got the touchdown. So really, there was no panic, there was no disorder. It was like business as usual when Nellie's running the 2-minute.
Let's talk about that 2-minute drill really fast. You get the ball down 4. Mary had just scored, so they take advantage. You got 80 yards to go, a little over 2 minutes when you get the ball. What's the thought process on the sideline? You have time, but not a ton of time. What's the game plan as you get out there on the field?
Yeah, we still had time out, so we really had plenty of time. And in fact, I didn't want to score too quick because they can score in a hurry, as they proved throughout the game. So we just wanted to run our normal tempo 2-minute. It wasn't a panic. We didn't have to spike the ball. We didn't have to do any of those kind of things. So run the ball in about 1 out of 4. Try to keep Rayon still part of the game as they're dropping 8 people, and just don't make any mistakes. Put the ball on the receivers. We've got to have some guys make play. Timmy Ulrich had his only catch he's ever had, and he diving into their sideline with the guy smashing him, huge catch. And then of course Sean Hurts in the end zone for a second touchdown of the game. We had great tempo. It's stuff we practice all the time, and it worked out just right.
Let's talk about that catch by Tim Ulrich, a guy who didn't have any catches going into the game, gets in on the biggest drive of the game and makes a great catch for a huge first down. As a senior, somebody who's going to be leaving the Warrior football program here in a couple weeks, it had to be really, really nice. You had to be real proud of that moment when you take all of it away. Obviously, you're in the game thinking about the next play already, but when you look back, you have to be very, very proud of that moment in a game. A guy who hadn't had a chance, getting it, stepping up and making a play.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, you're really excited for a kid like Timmy. I mean, he's actually graduating early, so he could come back for another year, but he's done with his academics and he's moving on, and he's a great student athlete. So that part was good. And for a guy like that, again, a program kid, kind of like Alex Nelson. Those guys that are here, they just put all the time in. He was on the gold teams for a couple years, and he's never complained once about anything. He's just an awesome kid. And as I talked to his dad at the senior day, how excited they were for what he's been a part of this program. Has been fantastic. Maybe not on the field, but everything else that he does with our program is awesome. So he's been a great representative to our program, and for him, he's got that. Now he's got a memory. He's got another game coming this week too, but a memory that he can share the rest of his life about. He was a huge part of a come from behind 2-minute drive with a diving catch.
You mentioned him earlier, but Rayon Simmons has been running extremely well over the last couple weeks. Another great performance by him, 203 yards, second straight 200-yard game. We talk about him every week, and it seems to be the same story as we have this conversation. Just a fantastic runner who is making things happen.
Yeah, and really you think about he's moving up the ladder of all-time career rushing leaders, and he's at 3 right now, so he's knocking on the door of a couple more. But more importantly is wish we missed him for about 2.5 games there. So another year he stays healthy, he'll probably be the all-time leading rusher here in Winona, and he's really has changed, and just his attitude about Winona and how he just loves this place. Now he's become one of our leaders on and off the field, and we're really excited for him. But he is a workhorse. He had 28 carries, and he was not going to go down. No,
and we'll switch over to the defensive side of the ball now. Gave up 43 points, so obviously I'm sure that, the staff knows that there are things that can be worked on. But against an offense like Mary that can put points up almost at will, and then to stop them there after the Warriors' final score, to get a couple quarterback sacks on that possession, not let them get anything going where they were a threat to score, you have to be pleased overall with the way that your defense played.
Well, parts of it, I'll be honest with you. Our defensive front played really well. We had 6 sacks in the game, but the 2 that came late, and we had one for a safety. So, they've only given up 9 sacks all year, and we gave them 6 in one day. That was huge. But our secondary didn't play great. Chris Norgard got hurt the first part of the game, and even actually intercepted the ball and took it back. But they didn't play particularly well. So it was kind of flat in the secondary. The front played well. Ryan Gerts came out early. So we were kind of beat up on that side of the ball a little bit early in the ball game, but really, overall, they made plays when they had to, and that's late in the game, caused a fumble. Ulrich comes up with one. We get a big sack by Rashad Gaden, dives over the top of a back, and so it's kind of a theatrical kind of a play up there for those defensive guys, but not a great day overall defensively, but good enough to win the football game.
We'll switch our focus now forward. Wayne State's your final opponent of the regular season. A game with postseason implications on the line. There's still postseason opportunities in front of this Winona State team. What do you have to do to slow down a good Wayne State team that beat Augustana last week and beat Minnesota Duluth when they were ranked #1 early this season?
Yeah, you just can't make mistakes against them. They're very good at takeaways. Duluth turned the ball over 3 times against them. We don't turn the ball over, we win the game. I really think that's going to be a huge part of it. Again, we need to start fast on the road in the Egg Bowl. It's a big game for them, and we both have postseason implications. So it's a huge game for us. Our kids are excited about playing, and like you said, we're on the road again for another long trip down to Wayne, America. But the biggest thing is for us to play well, don't turn the ball over, and make some big plays. And you do that, we'll win the game.
And somebody who has been taking very good care of the ball is Alex Nelson. Had that game at Augustana where he threw some interceptions, but since then hasn't turned the ball over, kept the offense moving. More of the same from him, I'm sure, is what you're expecting.
Yeah, and you go back to that Augustana game because he's taking the heat on that deal, but he had 5 interceptions in the game, and 3 of those went through or tipped off of our own guys. So he really has done well. He's I don't know how many touchdowns now he has, 6 or 7, and no picks. So he's playing great. A lot more than we. Well, I shouldn't say more than we expected because we expect him to play that well. But I think he's really excited at what he's done, and he's going to end up here almost playing a half a season for us, and hasn't thrown a pick since the first start. So he's done a great job.
Absolutely. Well, again, it's Wayne State next Saturday. A 7-4 record is on the line for both teams, and like you said, postseason implications. So it'll be a good one to watch there from Wayne, Nebraska. And we will be right back on the Tom Sawyer Show. Linebacker Ryan Gerts is going to sit down with Steve Carley and talk about his freshman campaign on the field with the Warriors.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Tom Sawyer Show. I'm Steve Carley, your radio voice for the Winona State Warriors. And with me here on the Tom Sawyer Show is freshman linebacker Ryan Gerts. Ryan, welcome to the program. As I said, a freshman new to the Winona State football scene. Early question, how has it been coming from high school to Winona State?
It's a whole different animal. In high school, you could just bully around everybody, throw some shoulders and O-linemen, and up here it's totally different. You actually there's actually technique to it, and but it's fun. It's been fun learning new technique and learning new defensive schemes, and it's everything I want from college football.
Good. And what was the deciding factor for you to come to Winona State?
Definitely Coach Sawyer, and of course all the coaches. There's a great group of guys, a lot of energy. They know what they're talking about, and also once you're off the field, they're just like anybody else. You could just have a good time with them and get to know them a little bit more.
Did the 3-4 defense that Winona State plays have any effect in you coming here?
Well, when they were recruiting me, they actually still ran the 4-3, but it's the 3-4. I'm really glad they did switch to 3-4 based on the speed, and that's how I play. I like playing fast, and it allows me to kind of just be an athlete out there. And
now in the 3-4, you only have 3 down linemen in front of you, so you might see some more offensive linemen come your way. Is it tough to shed those blocks and get to the ball carrier, or is it easier having 4 linebackers on the field? You guys can fly side to side.
It's definitely in some, I guess in some calls they help take up some of the offensive linemen. Of course, with other ones you just have to use a technique. We harp on it every day. Every day in practice we We do technique drill, getting off the blocks. So of course, in different situations, it's gonna go either way. So.
All right, now you coming to Winona State so far. How has it just the whole experience been for you in your first season?
Like I said earlier, it's everything I want from college football. When Maxwell Field's packed, it's unlike anything else I've ever experienced in my life. You got the goosebumps, and it's just everything I expected from college football. So
now that you're here at Winona State, a freshman, what has been the highest point of your season so far?
I definitely have to say St. Cloud. St. Cloud was a huge game. Of course, Maxwell was packed under the lights, and is one point in the season where we just all came together and played just a tremendous football game, and I was really proud of everybody and how everybody played that day. So
now this past weekend, you guys played a tremendous football game as well, winning it in the final minute up in Bismarck, North Dakota, taking on the Marauders at the University of Mary. Just tell the viewers how that game progressed from your standpoint on the defensive side of the ball, to be up early in the ball game, lose the lead in the second half, but then to have the will as a team to come back and win.
Yeah, we started off fast, got two turnovers in the first two series, got up 16-0 with the safety in the third. I don't know what got into us, but it's uncharacteristic of our defense, but our offense picked us up, scored, it seemed like every series. I don't know what the stat is, but they were just amazing. Ray was running like a man out there. And it just all came together in the end. Good teams find a way to win, so we pulled it out. So.
A very long trip that was, 10 hours one way. Now, another road trip, this one, the last regular season game. We go to Nebraska, Wayne State College. Now, you've probably seen some film on them here in the early going of the week. What are you guys looking to do on the defensive side of the ball this week?
Turnovers and sacks. That's been our go-to for the past couple of weeks, and it's whenever we get turnovers, whenever we get sacks, we give it back to our offense, and we find ways to win the football game. So. All
right. Well, hopefully you guys can get a win this week and keep your postseason hopes alive for the Mineral Water Bowl, or maybe even the playoffs if you get lucky enough to get in. Now, for you personally, is there anything before a game that you may do, like eating-wise, superstition-wise, just to get to know Ryan Gerts a little better?
Just pray. I thank God for this opportunity He's given me. I say my favorite phrase, I don't know, however many times I can, walking down from Memorial. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I say that as many times as I can, and know that He's with me, and just get after it.
All right. Well, thank you, Ryan, for joining me here on the Tom Sawyer Show. When we return, Grant Wall will wrap this thing up.
And welcome back to the Tom Sawyer Show. I'm joined now by Jeff Reinardy, and he is the Director of Fitness and Wellness here at Winona State University, as well as the head strength and conditioning coach for the Warrior football team and all the other athletic teams here at WSU. Thanks very much for joining us, Coach. And let's get into it right away.
Sure.
When you get these student athletes here on campus, I think a lot of people think that with football players, you're just trying to get them as big as possible. When you get guys on campus, what's the goal that you have for turning them into the best possible, machine that you can put on the field?
Well, our first goal is really looking at what position are they playing, what goals do they have as well. We really like to try to fit their goals with what's going to fit best with our football team. So we kind of take a combination of that. A real common situation might be if we have a wide receiver, when they come in at 18 years old, again, you might get a guy who's 6'1", 6'2", and say about 180, 185 pounds. And, we look at speed and stuff as well, and they might be running, a 4.6 type 40. By the time we get them for 4 to 5 full years, what we're really hoping is that they're somewhere over 200 pounds, and their speed is actually increased. So we've created a better athlete in that aspect, made them a more powerful, more physical individual, and also reduced or increased their speed and quickness capabilities.
What can you do to increase speed for athletes. There's so much with the types of offenses that are being run, a premium on getting guys in space, getting open if you're on the offense, and then stopping them if you're on the defense. What can you do to try to get guys to be faster and play faster on the field?
You know, there's a lot of things that we work on. Really, the development of power is a huge part of it, and power is really kind of a combination of strength and speed. The more explosive or more powerful an athlete can be, generally they are a better athlete then. What we would generally do, we work them out 3 to 4 times a week, depending on the time of the year. We'll spend a lot of time on a platform, and what I mean by that is we're going to do a clean, we're going to do a snatch, we're going to do something that's an explosive type movement. We have what they call speed school, where when the spring kind of starts rolling around and in that January, February time frame, we spend some extra time doing a lot of speed work, a lot of mechanic types of things, getting your body in the right position, doing all these different types of things. Do we retrain them to run? Really not so much. It's kind of a difficult thing to do when it's so ingrained at 18 to 22 years old. But we really work on some of the basic mechanics. Really try to get them to stride out a little bit, really try to get them in a good body position, good awareness position, so they are able to change directions. That straightaway speed is a nice piece to have, but you rarely see that on a football field. If you look at most plays, it's really a matter of starting, stopping. I talk about differences between being straightaway fast and quickness and agile and all those different, there's different components to each of it. We really try to focus on different aspects of it. If I had my druthers, if I had to pick, I would take someone who's actually a little bit quicker than just that straightaway speed type of individual.
If you've been watching the show this year, Coach Sawyer has talked so much about the strength of this program being in the guys who are here for 5 years, the guys who get in the program and really stay and grow through the whole thing. When you get an 18-year-old kid straight out of high school here, what do you hope to accomplish with them by the time that 5 years is over, and how much of an advantage is it to a program as a whole when you're working with a large collection of guys who have been here for the long haul?
It's a huge advantage. What we really are trying to do, again, is kind of place the individual with what the requirements of his position are going to be. And depending on the type of defense that we're running or the type of offense that we're running, those types of things can change, a little bit. But if you can get them the full 5 years, it makes an enormous difference. Particularly what we find interesting, and I've talked to other people in my field, about something like a freshman who starts. To some degree, it's kind of a disadvantage because they don't get that full redshirt year where we really get to kind of take them in, really get kind of used to the structure of how we do things, the types of movements that we do, and really trying to push their strength levels throughout that fall season. The travel team gets a little bit different workout. Yes, we're trying to keep them strong. We're trying to do those types of things, but we see a lot more, obviously, injury-based things that we're trying to work around, really trying to make sure that they're able to recover from the different lifts that we get to. So the kid who can spend a full total 5 years, with that red shirt has a huge advantage. They get comfortable with the types of movements that we do. They kind of understand, the difference of what we're trying to get to, where they need to be, and we really try to put it in their hands as much as we can. We try to really instruct and say, this is what we're really after. These are the types of movements that we're trying to do. Really get your technique to the right degree. We kind of have an idea of where your strength level should be, but we're really trying to put the onus back on them. We want them to really own that and to really enjoy that and not just kind of be something that's just drudgery between seasons and seasons. And we've got a really good group of guys that's had strong leadership through that and have really kind of take that and really pushed forward with an entire team.
And obviously the whole team works out very hard in the off season. Do they do a lot of their strength building in the off season? How much actual building do you do in the weight room during the season as opposed to recovery and maintenance type things?
We do try to do some building, but again, it's a tricky combination. Guys are usually just coming off of a game when we do our Sunday workout. So really less than 24 hours later, we have them in the weight room, and it's really the day we have to push them the hardest. So we're handling really kind of the heavy, difficult movements like a heavy clean or a heavy squat, those types of things, simply because it's the longest recovery time frame that we have as well. So we're really trying to juggle both aspects. They really adapt to that very well. You would think it'd be impossible for a guy coming off of, a 3-hour game, 70-some plays, to come in and actually hit a real hard workout. They do a nice job with it. But it's still not as or I should say it this way, it's much easier if we don't have that game, with those guys who are red shirts. We can really develop a real good base strength during the season. Most of the heavy types of movements that we do, really putting on a lot of weight, really stressing their bodies heavily from our perspective, happens during the off seasons.
And one last question for you before we get out of here. You have played an integral role in getting the new IWC put together. You still have a lot of things to do with that. Just how much does that add to a football program to have a facility like that? And not just football, I should say, the whole athletic program and the university altogether. How much is having a facility like that where you have the weight rooms, you have all the cardio space, the fitness studios? What does that do to a university and the health and well-being of the whole campus community?
Well, it's really, a huge benefit from all aspects. People talk to me about it's got to be great for recruiting your athletes, and I said, what it's really great for is recruiting all the students. Yeah. That's really a primary focus for a lot of individuals who come through our campus. Every tour comes through that. We have generally between 1,800 and 2,000 students come through that facility in any given day. So it's really heavily used, and it's tremendous as far as the athletic component is concerned as well. It's a big enough facility I can bring the entire football team in at one given time. We've never had that opportunity in the past. We did it last off season for the first time. We kind of knew that it would be, we're kind of breaking different ground here. We're looking at things a little bit differently. Kind of hang with us, guys, and let's see how it goes. And guys who are, a little, we're not sure how it'll end up working in the long run. By the end, the seniors who I spoke to on the front end loved it. Thought it was the best off season we'd ever had. Really liked the team unity, and that's what I truly like as well. You get to see the guys on a daily basis. You're pushing each other constantly. So in the big perspective, it's been phenomenal. The space is wonderful. We get the opportunity to, if we need to have a guy who's doing some injury types of things, we've got, availability for different types of equipment. We've got cardio pieces upstairs if we need it. We have the track available to us. We have a couple of gym spaces, and we normally do things so early in the morning. We're usually there about 6 a.m. We're really the first individuals who walk onto the site. So we really get, a lot of usage. We're not interrupting the basically the general student populace who are in there. It works out really well for all components.
Excellent. It's a beautiful facility and one that just keeps getting better and keeps figuring out more ways to make the most of it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Coach, for joining us.
Thank you.
We will be back one last time on the Tom Sawyer Show right after this. Welcome back to the Tom Sawyer Show, and Coach Sawyer, one last episode for the year. There's still playoff and postseason possibilities out there, and we'll deal with those and let everybody know what happens there after a game on Saturday. But just wanted to thank you for being a part of this year. I know the Warrior fans have been very excited to get to see and hear from you every week, and it's a great chance for you to talk to them.
Well, I appreciate that, and then obviously, with the record number of people that came out to our games this year, we're very excited about that. I do expect this crew will get an ESPY of some sort, but more importantly, that we've had fun. I think it's a great opportunity for our students to be in front of a camera, and that's why we have luncheons. That's why we do these shows. Try to get these kids the kind of experience that when they leave, they've had a little bit of taste of what it is to be in the media, and I surely enjoy it, and I know the guys coming on really do. So thank you as well, and to your staff here. It's been fantastic.
It's been a lot of fun, and for everybody here at the Tom Sawyer Show, for Corey Purdell and Steve Carley behind the mic, everybody who's been guests here all year, thanks very much for joining us on the Tom Sawyer Show.